And we could go in the negative direction too. What about like negative pi? We could try that.
But then pies don't exist. How do you eat a pie that doesn't exist?
This is not something that doesn't exist. One, I think Caroline finally got in. If Teams will open, come on. There we go. Okay. Why do you think it doesn't exist, Dawson?
I was making a joke saying that you can't eat pie as in the food if it doesn't exist.
Okay, well, we're going to refrain from jokes so we don't waste them. We have 0 pi, 2 pi, and negative pi here. All right, so those are all possibilities. There are infinitely many possibilities, but we're just going to kind of start here to see what we have. Now, this question mark was the stuff inside of here. So we're looking for like, when is this thing going to be equal to one of these angle measurements? Because we know that each of these angle measurements will give us a sine value of 0. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take pi over 3 minus c. My screen froze. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to set it equal to each one of those values. So 0, pi, 2 pi, and negative pi. And I'm just going to see what happens. Okay. When I solve this equation, I should get that c is pi over 3. Here, I get that c is negative 2 pi over 3. I get that c is negative 5 pi over 3. And the last one gives me that c is positive 4 pi over 3. Now, that was really ugly pi. Does anybody see something that would constrain us to one particular value here?
I would say, like, if you look at the graph, you can see at pi over 3 and 0, or pi over 3, 0, that point should be at the origin. So I'm going to say that it's the first one because it moved by pi over 3 to the right.
Okay, so you can physically see the shift from 0 to pi over 3. So that's what you think of that.
But I guess if it was a multiple, it could move any amount.
Good. Well, yeah, it could move any amount, exactly. It's some sort of multiple of pi over 3, and all of these are multiples of pi over 3. But is there any other given information in this problem that limits which c value we can choose?
Oh, it tells you what parameters it has to be in.
Exactly. C has to be between 0 and pi over 2. This is negative. This is negative, so those won't work. 4 pi over 3 is bigger than pi, so it's definitely 2. This is the only one that works. Okay, and no matter which direction I go, if I got bigger pies like 3 pi, 4 pi, if I went all the way up, those are just going to be more and more negative. And then if I go the other way and go negative pi, negative 2 pi, I'm just going to get bigger and bigger c values. So the only one that will ever fit into that particular domain for c is going to be pi over 3. Okay, so this is how we know that our c value must be equal to pi over 3. Okay, so now we have what our equation is. We know that our equation is y equals 8 sine of x minus pi over 3. Now, we know something about k that will help us solve for the value of k. What is it? Keith.
So I'm not really sure, but I'm thinking that maybe since it's a point on the y-axis, we might be able to plug in 0 as x.
That's perfect. So K is the Y value of that point. I'm going to sub in K for Y. And then we know that 0 is our X value. Okay. So then when I solve this equation, I know that K is going to be equal to 8 times the sine of negative pi over 3. Negative pi over 3 is going to be down here on our unit circle. So what is the sine of negative pi over 3, Sam?
Square root of 3 over 2.
Is that going to be positive or negative?
Oh, negative.
Yeah, so 8 times the negative square root 3 over 2. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. So my final answer should be that K is equal to negative 4 square root 3. Okay, what questions do you guys have? Carolyn, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, glad you made it. Do you have any questions since you just kind of jumped in the middle? We were doing number 5 on M18.
Okay. I don't have any questions right now.
Okay. I was telling everybody that we're doing, I was going to take about 2 questions on M18, and then we'll go ahead with the plan notes for today, because next class is review anyways, before your test, and then we will be, so like Wednesday would be a weird review day anyways, so it's not a big deal to push some notes. Okay. So there are no questions on this problem. I'm going to flip my notebook over. And what is you guys' next question about M18?
I got a question. Can we go over number 6?
Yeah, we can go over number 6. Let me move all this junk out. Move this over here for now. Come on. Okay, so number 6. And I have, so the original version of this had like a bunch of degree values because I wanted you guys to practice using those. So let me grab that. Okay, so we have 6. Our graph is y equals the cosine of x plus c plus d. We know that our c value is between 0 and pi over 10. My screen froze, so oh my gosh, this thing is like always in the way, no matter where I put it. Okay, there we go. All right, so we have this information. We also have a graph, which I'll try to sketch. Okay, so we have something like this. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, well. Pretend that that's perfect. Okay. I know my screen froze for a second. Can everybody see what I have drawn now? I've drawn nothing more than what was already on the paper.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. Okay, so let's see. We are given, it feels like not very much information here. But does anybody have any suspicions about what we're going to do? Anybody, anything?
Okay, I think since they don't provide an A value or a split space for A, the amplitude's probably 1. And if that's the case, then they would have had to add 2 to the Y value to make it sit on the x-axis like that.
Very good observation. I'm not sure that it's totally quite right, but yes, we can be.
Oh, add 1, I meant.
Yes, very good. We can be confident that A is 1 because they don't give us an, wow, why is my screen being so delayed? I'm so sorry. We can be confident that our A value is 1 because they don't give us an A value to fill in, which means that since the minimum is on 0, our midline must be at 1. So our D must be positive 1. Very good observation. Okay. All right, so we have our D value. Now, how about C? How are we going to figure out C? So far we have y equals the cosine of x plus c plus 1. Can we do something similar as what we did last time? Anybody?
Yeah, we can plug in pi over 4 and 0.
Very good. So which one for which? That's Heath that's saying that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You plug in pi over 4 for x and 0 for y.
Perfect. So I'm going to have 0 equals cosine of pi over 4 plus c plus 1. All right, and we're asking the same sort of question. The cosine of, oh, actually, hold on. First, we got to solve a little bit, right? We've got to subtract 1 from both sides to try to isolate the cosine. So -1, -1. And we should get that the cosine of pi over 4 plus c is equal to -1. So we're asking the question, the cosine of what angle values give me -1? Okay, so can somebody give me some angle values?
Like 180 or pi.
Yeah, so pi, what else? Because we want to couple, because we want to make sure that our c, whatever it is in the domain. So -pi would work, right? And then what other multiple of pi?
3 pi.
Yeah, 3 pi would work too. So let's test each of those and see what happens and see if we push c in or out of the domain that we have using each of these. Okay, so I'm going to say that pi over 4 plus my c is equal to pi. See what c is when I do that. I'm going to test it when it's equal to -pi. And I'm going to test it when it's equal to 3 pi. And I'm going to see what happens in each of those cases. Okay, what questions do you guys have about that process? Because that's a fairly new thing that we've talked about. Okay, if there are no questions, we're going to keep moving. So we would subtract pi over 4 from both sides of this. Pi minus pi over 4 is going to give me what?
Three pi over 4.
Yeah, it would give me -3. Actually, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. Yes, it would give you 3 pi over 4. So we get our c to be 3 pi over 4 if we do this. Okay, what will c be if I do it with -pi? Oops. So I have -pi, which is the same thing as -4 pi over 4, minus another pi over 4.
-3 pi over 4.
Close, but not quite. So I have -4 pi over 4. That's the same thing as -pi, minus another pi over 4. This thing is always in the way. Okay. We have two negatives. What's -4 minus 1?
So -5 pi over 4.
Yeah. -5 pi over 4. And then the very last one, 3 pi over 4 minus pi over 4.